those three runs that I just played were all using a diminished scale over a rootless dominant seventh chord. I'm going to talk about the relationship between diminished seventh and dominant seventh chords. If you don't know how to construct these two types of chords, I did another video explaining this, and I'll put the link in the description below. A diminished seventh chord is a symmetrical chord, which means that every interval in it is the same. That's a diminished seventh chord on B, and it just consists of a series of minor thirds stacked on top of each other. B to D is a minor third, D to F, minor third, F to A flat, a minor third. If you don't know what minor thirds are and you're interested in learning about intervals, I've done another video covering that, and I'll put the link in the description for that as well below. If you're not interested in the theory part of that though, a quick way of just working out a minor third is just to count up 3 semitones from a note. So if we take B, count up 3 semitones, 1, 2, 3, takes you to D, 1, 2, 3, takes you to F, 1, 2, 3, takes you to A flat. So you arrive at a B diminished seventh chord in the same way. So how is that related to a dominant seventh chord? Let's take a G7 chord, G, B, D, F. G is the root of the chord, B the third, D the fifth, F the seventh. If we add a flattened ninth above that, A flat, and then remove the root note, the G, we've got a B diminished seventh chord. And most of the time, diminished seventh chords function as dominant seventh chords, but without the root. So how do we construct a diminished scale? Well, I think a simple way is to take a diminished seventh chord and approach each chord note from a semitone below. So and that gives you the diminished scale. Just want to clarify something. A lot of theory books talk about half step, whole step scales and whole step, half step scale. And it sometimes makes you think that there's kind of two different scales there. Well, basically, it's just the same scale, but starting on a different note. So if I start that scale on the B, that would be whole step, half step, whole step, half step. If I started it from the semitone below, then it would be half step, whole step, half step, whole step. So it's basically the same scale. Now the scale, because it has this regular pattern of half steps and whole steps, is also symmetrical. And a useful little technique is to create a little finger pattern, a bit like an ordinary 5-finger exercise, and repeat it at intervals of a minor third. In other words, around the notes of the diminished chord. So the first pattern that I did, those 3 notes are chord notes from the B diminished chord, and I'm just starting it by approaching the first one from the next note up in the diminished scale that we played. And then I'm playing the same pattern around the next note of the chord. And then up another minor third. So the second pattern that I played, once again, those 3 notes are from the diminished seventh chord. We're just approaching the first one from a semitone below. So it's basically, it's very similar to the first pattern I played. That was, those 3 notes are the same. I'm just approaching that one from above the first time. And the second time I'm approaching it from below. And again, every pattern is repeated at intervals of a minor third. The third one was a descending run, and it was so again it's a little pattern which is repeated at intervals of a minor third. So that's the pattern which then moves down a minor third and down another minor third, another minor third. Okay, these little patterns that you can make, they're very useful to construct effective runs. Just be a little bit wary. Don't they sound too robotic and mechanical with them. Try and vary the rhythm a little bit, introduce syncopated rhythm. Don't just have a series of quavers all the time. Okay, hope you found that useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.